I guess this is like the one Fairview Inn where they actually charge you if you forget to return the room key. Well, good thing we got out of there at exactly 10:59 before we incurred any additional fees. Better stock up on bottled water before we leave. I hear the tap will give you horrific diarrhea. Then again, a drink from the sink does imbue your teeth and esophagus with magical ice breath powers and pragmatic clairvoyance, so it's kind of a toss-up. Anyway, now that we have the magic key, we can finally access the underground tunnel beneath the Shrine of Philanthropy. Come to think of it, we probably could have just swum. In fact, we could have walked. The water is only knee-deep. Or balls-deep. Now prepare yourself for a ruthless onslaught of savage adversaries ready to wage mortal combat at the first sign of an unfamiliar intruder. Or nothing. Nothing is also a distinct possibility. Well, is it too late to do an introduction? Nice to meet you, Karmavores, and welcome back to Let's Freakin' Play Dragon Warrior 2, The Puma Man. Written and narrated by the one and only KarmaJolt, who scripts all of his videos from the bathtub. In the last episode, our brave heroes finally apologized to each other for the way they behaved over the Ducksgiving break, and are happily working together to locate the next plot point. Between the last episode and now, I've leveled them both up off-screen, and worked as a freelance writer off-screen, and shopped for groceries on-screen because they have security cameras at the Twisty Mart, and procured a shiny new full-time job off-screen. Our dubious duo is approached by, among other things, a pair of Legatrons, known for their extremely hard exoskeletons made of metal. Luckily, someone on our team has studied the cantrips of significant harm, which can pierce even the weakest of natural defenses. Meanwhile, Zangief clubs snakes with a heavy stick. At this point, we can only guess that we are getting closer to an important destination. Our party encounters a solo zombie, as if the world isn't sick of seeing those all over movies, literature, TV, comics, and video games. This zombie isn't even the type that has an infectious bite. In fact, this particular zombie gives you money for defeating him, or her, I guess. Well, onward to our unspecified destination. Stay on your guard, warriors. The Pixie's potion has dried up, which means the journey to the nearest civilization will become exponentially more dangerous. Or completely uneventful. That is also a distinct possibility. Don't stay at this motel until you've thoroughly inspected their white panels for any sign of bedbug infestation. This sprightly, paranoid young lass says some shit about ghosts, which is cool and all, but where can a guy go to get a cold beer and watch Monday Night Castle Siege? Are you ready for some Rookfall? Okay, that last joke was lame, but at least we've added a new task to our quest log. The parka of parasailing is said to be hidden in a very tall tower with lots of annoying stairs to climb. Of course, there's always a chance that it might be found in the first floor lobby. Also, the ruins of Chateau Sun Creek lie to the southwest. Since the developers made such a big deal out of it in the opening sequence, it might make sense for us to go investigate. Although I wouldn't venture too far without saving your game first, because you might just encounter evil demons or worse, wildlife. Record your deeds in the Imperial Scrolls of Honor, which is just the official term for the stenographer's MacBook Pro. This canine has been hounding us for an audition to become our newest companion. Sorry, dog. We're looking for someone who can at least equip a dagger or something, and that requires functional opposable thumbs. Although I can certainly think of worse party members to include during our journey, like a thief who can't steal, or an incompetent, cowardly woman who reinforces antiquated sexist gender stereotypes. Or any character without any character at all, or cow. Well, I guess we'd better take a nap before heading toward the ransacked ruins of the Pontiac Silverdome. You know, to replenish our HPs and stuff like a responsible adult. Since the trek to our destination is long and hard, I'll save you some time by simply showing you this map. That way, I can advance the action while exerting a minimal amount of effort. We have arrived at the abandoned water park formerly known as Cascade Castle. What are you waiting for? The site was shut down in August 2005 after Hurricane Katrina forced mandatory evacuations on the neighboring cities. The desolate and decrepit setting serves as a tranquil reminder of the fearsome power of Mother Nature. who occasionally shatters antiquated sexist gender stereotypes. By the way, did I mention this game is pretty difficult? The enemies in this particular region of the continent can deal massive damage in a single strike. Remain especially cautious for lizard flies, baboons, and oncoming vehicles. 4 gecko gnats have hit Zangief like a truck, which is why he was in dire need of some energizing herbal refreshment. The residents of this home do not feel like answering the door for trick-or-treaters and have instead placed a chest full of candy on the front porch, which has already been looted, probably by one obnoxious kid with a stupid costume. I was hoping to find some York peppermint patties to increase my blood sugar before the next encounter. Good thing those guys were busy, or we would have died. At least this guy is pretty fired up for a party tonight. Maybe he'd like to join ours. I bet he has some unique abilities like damage return on melee attacks and difficulty sitting on wooden furniture. Oh yes, I still haven't healed Dr. Joshtopus from the last battle. He insists that his name isn't Josh, but we continue to make up cool nicknames that include Josh in them anyway. Sorry for joshin' around so much, haha. Also, way to survive. They say living is half the battle, but I imagine they have greatly underestimated the true proportion. Happy birthday, Josh. Muscles increase by much. Sportsmanship increases by 3. This distraught flame of thrones warns us about the dangers of chronic smoking. But like cigarettes and tobacco smoking, not like Dr. Dre chronic smoking. Hey kid, look, go over here. A toasty chap in the western section of the food court offers a valuable tidbit of information and divulges the secret location of the Snow Queen's looking glass. It is obvious that this item is important to the story and is completely necessary to advance the action of Dragon Warrior 2. But just in case you were a bit too dense to recognize that a unique named quest item hidden in an obscure area might be vital for our party's progression, there is a third NPC stationed in the castle cellar, who explicitly states that the aforementioned item of legend and lore is indeed important to you specifically. Even though the first 2 fiery spirits and some townfolk have provided 99.9% of the relevant details for your immediate agenda, traversing a long and dangerous toxic marsh will lead you to a lonely basement-dwelling weeaboo, who rewards you with some obvious minutia that you've already extrapolated from the given data. He is not entirely forthcoming about his desire to be rescued, so abandon him in the demon-infested ruins and fly off to safety unaccompanied. Throw yo wings in the mother-flippin' air and teleport to Akron, Ohio like you just don't care. Well, it's pretty obvious what to do next. In fact, I should admit that the game does not require you to visit the Besieged Kingdom at all, and the mirror of WWE Monday Night Raw can be obtained at any point. Nonetheless, I thought I'd include some footage of some castle exploration simply to add a logical progression to the narrative, as if I were producing a coherent walkthrough, for example. Plus, I needed some gold to upgrade our harming tools. Purchasing a pointy shaft for Orfeo, which is his real name, allows Zangief to inherit a moderately powerful hand-me-down, and now our heroes are slightly less likely to get wrecked. Time to get my sleep on before partaking in any annoying RPG shenanigans. Should I show you a map or something? Fine, I will. Just be patient, okay? Now grab a vanilla bean latte from the PJs next door and get ready for some thrilling adventure. Oh joy, nature. It's not that I don't appreciate trees and shit, but I think you might have an aversion to wilderness as well if wild animals and hostile natives tried to eat your limbs every time you stepped out to take a leak in the woods. On a very real note, the apes in this game are the greatest threat to your existence, and I have yet to play through Dragon Warrior 2 without dying to a baboon at least once. On the opposite end of the spectrum, I have no idea why the programmers decided to include the smoke enemy, who will rarely deal more than 1 damage at a time. How about that map that I promised? Ain't no map like a KarmaJolt map, cause a KarmaJolt map ends abruptly. If this were some educational children's show like Counting with KarmaJolt, I'd ask how many bridges do you see? Then there would be an awkward silence before a child's voice half-heartedly yells, "Foe." But it's not. And we're out of wyvern wings, so I guess we'll have to walk home. That's okay, we'll be fine. Or maybe we'll be completely annihilated. that is also a distinct possibility. NBD, a simple case of bodily death isn't a problem that can't be fixed with money. Of course, when you die, your murderers take half your gold and pee on the rest. If I'm not mistaken, this sassy cleric implies that your allies can somehow be revived through the homeopathic pseudoscience of bloodletting. I'm pretty sure large-scale bloodletting is sort of how we died in the first place. Nonetheless, I lack the finances to afford any type of life-giving operation. Perhaps pawning an old copper sword can earn us a few coppers. While we're at it, maybe I can get something for this weird mirror. It doesn't even work right. When I gaze into it, all I see is some nerdy white boy with glasses and a forehead birthmark reaching into his pocket. I wouldn't even need to sell my goods if my income level didn't fall within the Medicaid gap, or if I were Canadian. At least there are some interesting magazines in the waiting room, Morty, but maybe I should have brought a Game Boy or something. Well, that took forever. I was considering leaving a note like, hey, when your soul returns to the planet, just meet me at the Haggis train. Anyway, now we can finally do the thing with the mystical artifact and the dog, if you know what I mean, and you probably do if you've been paying attention at all. Who would have guessed that the dog was actually a woman? Probably the 3 characters in that castle who told us exactly what was going to happen. The artist formerly known as Dog performs a terrible karaoke rendition of Unbreak My Heart by Whitney Houston, and we are now contractually obligated to drag her along for the remainder of the voyage. Well, that about wraps up this episode of Let's Freakin' Play Whatever. This is KarmaJolt signing off. Until next time, tell your cats I'm meow.